Do you ever feel tired of not living up to your potential, of not getting to spend time with your kids or your significant other, or living in the neighborhood that you always thought you'd live in, or saying no to the vacations all the time, struggling to barely get by, just paying your bills, let alone thriving? Or, maybe you're at the point where you can pay your bills just fine, but that's kind of it. Maybe you're making really good money, but you're not managing it well. Or you're so busy working for it that you don't actually get to spend it and enjoy it. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one who's crazy and doesn't want to live like that anymore. Does that resonate with you at all? Feeling so stuck and burnt out and frustrated and overwhelmed and confused. You have all this potential, but you're not living up to it. You're not utilizing it. You're constantly hitting a block and you don't know what it is. Is it lack of confidence? Is it lack of skills? Is that you need a coach to help you with your marketing? How do you get fit physically? How do you emotionally handle the trials that keep coming your way as you keep working on figuring out how to level up? How do you do it? What's missing? I remember in October of 2021, my husband was getting ready to go to a men's retreat, and things have not gone well in our relationship for a really, really long time. And probably really ever fully, like 100%. And when he was leaving, there was this part of me that was so angry with the things that I was accepting in my life and letting myself feel a certain way and being treated a certain way. I was super overweight. I didn't want to face it, but I hated it. I hated my life. And that's being super incredibly honest with you. I really did. And I was so miserable. And I felt like I was living a double life. Like, people talk about imposter syndrome. I didn't feel imposter syndrome. I felt fake. I felt so, so fake. Like, these people, as I'm building this business, are looking to me for leadership. They're looking at me going, how do I love my life? How do I grow a business? How do I connect with people the way you've connected with me? How do I let people into my life and not suck at everything anymore? And I never felt like I could answer their questions because I didn't know either. How do you face the fact that you have more debt than you should? That your marriage ain't it? Your kids are not as happy as they could be. Your house is a disaster. I'm not talking about like normal messy, you have kids kind of a situation, but an absolute disaster. You're super incredibly overweight. You're not physically fit at all. People are asking you for nutrition advice, and you're at the health store going, I need sleep. I need to not feel sick. I want these headaches to go away. My body feels so inflamed. And, just a few days before this day in October of 2021, I went in for probably like the 100th time to the health store. And you know what the lady who owns it said? She looked at me and she said, are you sleeping yet? And I told her, I looked her straight in the face, right in the eye, and I said, I run a business that is primarily ran on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. There's a 2-hour time difference. I'm up until midnight doing training, then till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning cleaning. My kids get up at 6, between 6 and 7 to get to school every day. I don't have the support that I need to do everything, and I don't have money to hire. So no, I'm not. And from a place of love and care, she looked at me and she said, she looked me back right in the eye and she said, until you start prioritizing rest, until you start taking care of yourself, there's nothing that we can offer you in this store that's going to help. Nothing. And then, of course, to be nice, she gave me something, and a few days later, when I was really upset and forced to really kind of face my life for the first time the next day after my husband left for 5 days, I looked myself in the mirror and I thought, you are the most unhappy person that I know, who is pretending to be the happiest person everybody knows. And then I heard this song by King and Country called Burn the Ships. And it spoke so deeply to my soul. And I thought, that's it. Samantha, you have to sever the ties. You need to be brutally honest about where you are. Figure out the fact and decide, commit to moving forward and not looking back. And let me tell you, I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know what I need to try. I don't know who to talk to. So I started with writing in my journal where I was at right then, how I was feeling, and then I found some discomfort in it. So instead I switched and I turned on my camera while my kids were napping or watching a show, and I did a video to myself. A year from now, you're not going to be the same person. You're going to be different. It stops here, now, today. And then I put myself on the scale. Did some before pictures. Really, really just extreme personal vulnerability. Where I hadn't been willing to do that for a long time. As a teenager, I had a really bad eating disorder. I was literally dying to be thin. I was dying in an attempt to be skinny and to look how I thought other people wanted me to look. And when I came out of that, throughout the course of my marriage and having kids, I gained 45 pounds. Yeah, 45 pounds. And instead of doing anything about it, I was hiding inside of my business, telling people what I thought they should do with their money, how I thought they should be handling things to grow their own income. And I was sitting behind a desk for several hours a day, ignoring my kids, ignoring my responsibilities, and I just kept gaining more and more and more weight. I was blowing up. Instead of dying to be thin, I was just fat and miserable thinking I was happy. That's what you do. You just gotta grind. Gotta hustle. Take care of it later when the money comes in. Can I just tell you that that doesn't work? The money doesn't matter if you're too sick to enjoy it. Money absolutely can help you to live a more thriving life. It's like up there with breathing and oxygen itself. You gotta have it to survive. But it doesn't make you happy if you're already unhappy. After taking uncomfortable pictures and a video to myself, I started tracking my nutrition. I was introduced to Brendon Burchard and Mel Robbins and the High Five Habit by Divine Design that next week. And then I went to an event out in California where it was a deep dive leadership event with like almost 400 entrepreneurs. And one of the things that we were asked to do was this exercise where we're writing a letter to ourselves. 5 years, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Hey, you know what? When you were 85 years old looking back on your life, what are you so proud of yourself for having accomplished? You can lay there on your deathbed or at 85 looking back on your life and think, I did that. I lived a good life. I'm so proud of me. There were people in that room sitting around me who saw themselves there in that room looking back, so proud of themselves for staying and continuing in that environment and growing that particular business. And it was like this awakening for me where I didn't know what to write because I felt like I was in the wrong room. All the goals I just spent so much time, so many years, so many countless hours, thousands of dollars growing. I didn't see it looking back on my life. I wanted to get up. Have you ever had an experience where you realize that you're not in the right place and you get up and you're like, Forrest Gump moment, I need to just start running. Like now, I need to get as far away from here as possible. I'm in the wrong place. It is not that I don't like these people. It is not that this isn't a good place. It's just not my place. And it was so uncomfortable and so scary. And that was really the beginning of the end of a lot of things. A burn the ships, cut the ties, death to a version of me that no longer exists. Through that process, I hired a high-performance coach, told my team and my leaders in the business that I had been growing in the finance industry that I was taking a break. I didn't know if I was coming back. I just knew this wasn't it right now. And I started working on me for the first time. I downloaded MyFitnessPal and I started tracking every single thing I ate. I said no to everything that didn't align with my goals. I started working on healing my gut. I dived into nutrition and holistic health and plant-based eating. I cut out carbs and sugar and anything gluten at all whatsoever. And I just became very plant-based. Started drinking a ton of water. And eventually, after a few months, committed to the gym and started going. I didn't know what to do at the gym. I couldn't afford a trainer. I could barely afford to be in the gym. But something had to change. Something had to happen. I lost some weight. I was feeling a little bit better. Awesome. But I knew I needed another level, so I went to the gym. So January of 2022, I started with my high-performance coach. Like the interview process. By February, I was working one-on-one every single week with a high-performance coach through Brendon Burchard and his program for months. And if you're a coach, if you work with people, if you help people to, in some area of their life, grow and evolve and shift and have transformations, imagine spending almost 5 months with somebody every single week who just kept saying, I don't know. I don't know what I want that to look like. I don't know what that's supposed to feel like. I don't know what I want. What does healthy look like? Over and over and over. Because I didn't know. I grew up in an extremely toxic, highly dysfunctional environment. And because that's what I knew, that's what my comfort level was, I married into it and continued on. with that same pattern and cycle and lifestyle. I just thought I was doing better and I couldn't see that I wasn't. By June, I realized that the only thing that was going to change to get to that next level, to start finding answers, to start figuring out what I wanted to do from there, I asked for a separation from my husband a year ago. It's been a year now since then. June of 2022, it is now June of 2023. Over the last year, I have lost myself in so many areas I can't even tell you. But I've also found myself. I have found skills and techniques and tools. I've connected with people who align with where I want to go. I still don't have all the answers. I tell people this very literally. Forewarned, if you're listening with kids and you don't want them to hear this, when I decided to commit to myself, I had no idea what I was walking into. None. When I asked for a separation, I felt so much relief, but also so much fear. And the last 12 months inside of myself, inside of my home, inside of my finances, I didn't know that asking for a separation was opening the door to a literal form of hell on earth. It has been an exhausting nightmare. But I'm still growing. I'm still learning how in certain areas to thrive. I feel great, like physically. I have worked with lots and lots of some of the best people ever. I have, in the midst of figuring out how I want to serve people, how I hope I can help you in my coaching program that I'm building out right now, I've started identifying what a thriving life looks like, what I want my kids to feel inside of our home. I have become so much closer to my Savior, to God, my Heavenly Father, to Jesus Christ. I have committed more intensely than I ever have my whole life and actually understand more about the covenants and promises that I've made in that area of my life. And it's weird. Like, if you haven't gone through it, I don't know how to explain it. How can you sit in the middle of what feels like hell on earth and have peace in a lot of ways? How do you do that? I hope that if any of this relates or resonates with you, 1, I'm sorry that you're struggling. And 2, you deserve better. You deserve to feel loved and appreciated. You deserve to feel like you can be the best of who you are in the midst of the absolute worst that could possibly happen in your life. You deserve that. But what I want you to know, what I want people to know, and to understand and to feel, and what I want to teach people and help them with, is that you can go through the things that are meant to break you and still live with integrity. Still be authentic. Still be real. Still be open and transparent in the healing process, in the journey. And I also want you to know that you're not alone. You are worthy, you are loved, you are deserving. Cry. Cry for days, weeks, months if you have to. But don't stop and stay there. Very, very few people who I've met can go through what I'm going through and have gone through and still keep showing up. Usually they disappear and they go off grid for a while and they got to find themselves in a different kind of way where they shut out the world for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I thought I was going to do that. I tried for a minute. But I couldn't do it. There's this inner knowing inside of you if you're anything like me. And if you are, we really need to support each other and help each other to grow through this. But if you are like me and there's this inner knowing, and no matter how many times you try to back down, no matter how many times you try to let go and retreat into a shell, there's something within you that is calling you out to keep showing up, to keep stepping forward, to keep shining your light in the darkness. I want to encourage you to lean into it. I have a Facebook community, the Create Your Life, Transform and Thrive Collective. It's no cost other than time and energy and effort to be there and present. I want to invite you to be a part of that. I do 5-day challenges teaching some of the tools and techniques and skills and the mindset around how to move through hard things and keep showing up. I also teach people about the nutritional side of things. I've partnered with some really amazing naturopathic doctors and practitioners to help bring the best of that to you, because when your brain and your gut are synergistically working together, you're going to feel better. You're going to be able to thrive on a different level, on a cellular level, that will help carry you through those challenges. You're going to have great times and not so great times, so we talk about the movement in there as well. And so I want to invite you to come check it out, see what it's about. There's some incredibly phenomenal people that I'm bringing together, that God is bringing together. I cannot take the credit. I cannot. For showing up, yes, absolutely, high five to myself. But none of it's possible without him. So, stay tuned. Follow my page. Share this with somebody who you think might need it. Maybe nobody needs it. Maybe this is just me looking back on my life in a few years. I'm cool with that. I'm not here to impress anybody. I hope to impress upon you the ability to live and love and thrive. As Brendon Burchard says, honor the struggle and bring the joy. And know that God is in this story. See you soon.